Hey, I am here with Joe Wiltshire from Fastenal, and Joe's been one of our all-star judges for a few years now. I think you've judged, God, it's got to be 8 or 10 programs, Joe, but he is Corporate EHS and Sustainability Manager at Fastenal. And Fastenal, if you don't know, supports about 20,000 employees, 2,000 global locations, and it's everything from industrial supplies, construction, safety products, you name it. You know their sign because you passed it a million times on every road you've ever been on in every city in America. But Joe's in Cleveland, so welcome, Joe. Thanks for joining us on the Winner's Circle.
Yeah. Thanks for having me today, Russ. Appreciate it.
Now, give us a little bit of a background of kind of what your role is there and what you're working on.
Yeah, so our team here supports 22 distribution centers and manufacturing locations in North America, about 1,500 what we call branch facilities across the globe. We're in 25 different countries. And yeah, like you said, over 20,000 employees. And so we're supporting both the occupational health, safety, environmental, and sustainability efforts for all those locations. And my role is specifically focused on our environmental efforts and sustainability, both reporting, initiatives, objectives that we roll out throughout the company.
Now, some people might not be familiar with EHS as a acronym. What do you equate that to? What does that mean to you?
Environmental health and safety. So some people have the SHE instead of EHS, but yeah, it's occupational health and safety, and then environmental factors.
Awesome. You've been with Fastenal for over a decade. What first drew you into kind of the environmental health and safety, and sustainability business or that kind of career angle?
Yeah, I've been with Fastenal for 12 and a half years. And in that time, I worked a majority of it in our Akron distribution center. So right down the road from me here. Always had a passion for helping employees not just take care of themselves, but also look out for their own safety. People can say that in your workplace is one of the safest places you can be because there's other people that are taking care of, your environment. And I've always had a passion for not just the safety, but also the sustainability factor, which for the last 3.5 years, I've really honed into that and tried to take more measures to help the company.
And you've even won an award or two for that, haven't you?
Yeah, yeah, not perfectly placed, but there is one in my office.
How's that role changed kind of as you move from regional leadership into that kind of global corporate manager role?
Yeah, we re-rolled out, it's weird to say that, re-rolled out our safety program back in 2012, kind of into the beginning stages of 2013. And, we had some leading indicators that we realized, we needed to really focus on that, reduce injuries, reduce different sorts of activities. And when we kind of got into more of the environmental and sustainability efforts, we realized it's not just about recycling, but it's, reducing in our supply chain spots and then the reuse of materials within our facilities. And so we were able to build out some really great programs over the last 5 or so years. And, the part that really, I guess, found my excitement was in our Active Distribution Center. We were looking for local facilities that when they took the material, we knew that they were reusing it within their operations. And so when I came into the more of the corporate role, we were looking to duplicate that across our measures. And one of those initiatives, not to jump the gun on this, but one of those initiatives was a plastic recycling program that we partnered with Trex, who's an outdoor wood and plastic manufacturer of, decking material, railings, floorboards, those kinds of things. And so when we partnered with them back in 2023, we said, hey, we will solely bale all the material that we have that's a stretchy plastic material that doesn't crinkle across our distribution network, ship it off to them so then they can reuse it for their materials.
It's such an amazing story. As a former Trex Deck owner, yeah, it's an amazing story of seeing that what would have been waste and landfill and bleeding into the soil turn into something useful. So that's an amazing story. How did that How did that land for both companies?
You know, they really brought us in, gave us a lot of different training materials, walked the facility, seen what their poly materials are really doing and, not just improving, both sides of our business, but their business too. It's been a great partnership and one that they've embraced from our side. They go to all of our facilities and check in with our local on-site managers there, see how it's going, see if they can provide any insight or help. So it's been a great program for us.
And that's again at kind of this global scale that your guys at. What's the most rewarding part of leading a team that big, across 25 countries, 20,000 employees?
Oh, it's a great question. It's rewarding when you see employees talking to, or sorry, in some cases, leadership talking to their own employees and the employees really buying into it. We have different community boxes where both employees and people in the community can drop off their plastic so they know it's not going into, a landfill nearby, affecting their communities whatsoever. We have a really good community engagement, not just on the safety side, but also within our company too, from our, driven from our marketing and sales enablement side. And, it's been something that I've been happy to grow with Fastenal in the case that they a lot of times promote from within and have a very decentralized business model.
Let's remember that too, that we have this Fastenal recycling, program at every Fastenal sign that you see across America. That's an amazing initiative in itself. How do you, what's interesting to me is that you're in all these municipalities, different states, different countries. How do you guys balance all that local compliance with global compliance and, even global goals?
Sure. You know, there are times where we need to rely on, in some cases, consulting firms, because, we have our EHS managers at all those distribution manufacturing locations, kind of our sublet into other regions. So in the case where I was covering our distribution center in Akron, I also was overseeing, the branch facilities within, half of Ohio, Michigan, parts of Indiana, West Virginia, Maryland. So, there was a lot of, trust that would go into it and providing those resources and then doing, facility visits, doing the traveling part of it too, and, help and train them up so they knew what they needed to be doing and were responsible for.
And, you've got all these different locations. What's the biggest changes that you've seen with OSHA and EPA compliance in the recent?
Um, it's kind of been a little twofold on that, where, whether it's heat preparedness or, employees, the break policies that some have instilled. The EPA has been ever evolving into more of some, like greenhouse gas emissions were big on the reporting structure, where those, you hear about it lessening quite a bit with the changes in administration. One of the big things I think that's helped us to grow exponentially is we've done a double materiality assessment, which is part of the EU's CSRD, which is a corporate sustainability reporting directive, where if you're reporting on certain things, you need to know what's material to you. So it's things that you can make an impact for the community, the environment, and what the stakeholders see as important. So, we went through and did that, and it built out some initiatives, like one being the Trex program with the plastic recycling. You know, one of the other initiatives that we did was an Energy Star treasure hunt across those 22 facilities. And so we did that last year. We found through this treasure hunt, which, if you're not familiar with it's basically low cost fixes to improve energy efficiencies within your building. And last year we had 178 um, different projects or things that we fixed due to those hunts within the location. And then this year we rolled it out again to, kind of double back on it and make sure that things that were fixed were supposed to be. And we realized that the number was significantly lower because of those items that we had already corrected. And in turn, we saw a year over year reduction of 6% electrical usage from those 22 locations.
That's so amazing. Your CEO must have been like, "Are you guys kidding me? This is awesome." Yeah, like 6% savings is not a joke.
Yeah, so Dan Florness is a very big proponent of our EHS sustainability directives, and um, like I said, very decentralized. So they say, run your own business, do what you see best fit. Instead of having someone looking over your shoulder all the time, and that's why I've been with Fastenal as long as I have, and will continue to, is because it's a great company. We very much appreciate what they instill in us.
Really liked it back then. It was special because you had very individual stories everywhere you went, and why you did something a certain way, and it worked for them.
Sure.
So this treasure hunt, share with us the kind of the initiative that you're most proud of, or that was most unique, that you found the most beneficial out of those. What is it,
Yeah, we have.
178 plus another 30 or something?
Yeah, so when we rolled it out, we looked at the primary categories, so like lighting, building envelope, motors and equipment, equipment load like for plugs, extension cords, for example, too. We realized that, maybe when we're focused on our health and safety, we know we want to take care of our employees, but taking care of the building as well is important, because if you're not doing what's best, or if things are constantly being plugged in use, not in sleep mode, things are just constantly being run. A couple cases we found conveyors were running over, a weekend when no one was in the building, so to capitalize on that, turn them off, put in sleep modes for those kinds of things, definitely definitely was important to us. And our operations team, the people who run the facilities, our regional operations managers, were involved in those hunt teams. So they were the ones that recognized it, knew, hey, this is coming out of our expenses, and it's easy to say, hey, if you can cut the cost of what you're doing in your business, it's going to help.
Yeah, and I've always found that it's as kind of corporate, you can give them recommendations like a tip sheet. Hey, turn off conveyor belts and install sleep modes. But if they're out there finding those things themselves, it has such a different impact than kind of you telling them, "Hey, here's a bunch of things you can go do."
Yeah, absolutely. And we try and be as resourceful as we can to help out, and uh, I've talked to a few different organizations who've done this as well, and I kind of got the best practices from what they put into place. So we modeled it after that, and then took EPA suggestions, and we're able to do it the Fastenal way.
Now, you guys have done obviously a lot of work internally on sustainability. Um, but you're a huge part of the supply chain, right? So, what you sell, what you guys provide, huge part of the supply chain. What's the expectation like? What are those customer expectations like? How are they changing in terms of sustainability when they're coming to you, for their products?
Yeah. So most of the time, they have a pretty good idea as to what they're getting when they look at us, because we've won different awards through CDP, EcoVadis, like a silver medal, and a few years ago a bronze medal. So we're increasing on that front. Our reporting structure has been rock solid, very transparent with our customers, because we expect the same back from them. Several different customer calls every single week we're getting, because they want to know more about what we're doing internally. And then the products that we sell, being a wholesale distribution company, we can go out there and source different things for you if it's maybe not something we already have, and then we can look for competitive prices. Um, as far as the supply chain side of it. But we've won several different awards from our also suppliers for different sustainability efforts that we've made. So, on on the two sides of it, they know that we care about the environment, doing those double materiality assessments, reporting as we should, and being very open and honest.
Yeah, transparency is huge in this industry, and I remember being in telecom, and you had a lot of customers kind of wanting to see what you're doing internally on sustainability as a corporation, but then also, how is your service being differentiated in a way that is more sustainable? And it sounds like you guys are bringing in products that are more sustainable, and when customers are asking for them, I'm more than happy to bring them in.
Yeah, and part of our what we call our solutions, We have implementing vending bin systems inside customer locations. The nice part about that, tying it to sustainability and material reductions or waste reduction, is when stuff is being put into that machine, whether it's a knife or a pen or something else, to the extent that they're going to use, some of that material we recycle on our end. So in the case of the Trex program, if it's something that is in a single use consumer product, thin plastic, if they want it in a machine that has the plastic already on it, we'll put it in there. Or if they don't want the plastic, we'll take that, then we bring it back and we recycle it. So it's not increasing anyone's waste on their side.
Well, and I know you guys have done a lot on the digital side too with the managed inventory. Go ahead, walk us through kind of what that is and how that kind of drives efficiency and all the sustainability on the customer side as well.
Yeah, so referring to what we like to call our on-sites. So in most cases, we'll, if a customer is, accepting to it, there's obviously some legality behind the sides of it. We put in some places a cage where it's like, four walls. So the inventory is actually in their facility. And then we manage that inventory for them. So when they need something, they have it. Or we'll walk around the facility. If we see the bins are getting low for different screws or fasteners, we restock that. We have different scanning modes too on some of our equipment, where if we notice that it's getting low based on how much they're using, we're able to go fill it before they even see that it's getting low.
It's awesome. I love the just in time delivery of that stuff. What do you see as the biggest opportunity for sustainability in the next 5 years at Fastenal? Like, what are you guys working on? Where do you see the biggest kind of, the growth?
Yeah. So I would say there's several different things that we're working on internally as well. The reduction in the material that's being introduced into our supply chain is one of those that we're really working with different suppliers on at this moment. Being an international company, we definitely see it from several other countries already, and it's slowly creeping in. Um, I would say the take back of material is very important to us too, just like what we do with plastic, implementing that with cardboard, metals as well, to try and capture things that some may not see already, because it's just ending up, in a small can in a, 2 or 4,000 square foot facility. But, multiply that by, 1,500 locations, it adds up. So we're very lucky, and we've modeled ourselves in a great way, where we have our own internal fleet, our trucking system. So we're filling up space on those trucks as they're making deliveries to our branches. And then we're filling that truck back up with materials that maybe, like the plastics and cardboard. So the truck's not empty when it's coming back to our distribution center. It's full of stuff that we can recycle or reuse in some cases.
That's awesome. Well, it sounds like you've really got the corporate support for this, and it's part of the corporate strategy, which is not unique this day, but just to have it baked in as much as you guys do is really, really impressive. How are you mentoring kind of the next generation at Fastenal, and those new employees on the importance of these kind of initiatives?
We're very lucky too, because we have an internal business school called Fastenal School of Business, or FSB. And so, when it comes to different trainings, we incorporate into that. So when a new hire comes into our Fastenal land, they know already like what the regulations are for their jobs. So whether it's the the lighting systems we have, putting in skylights and new builds, helping employees to understand that hey, you're going to see signage out there for this material goes here, this goes here, reuse it instead of just throwing it in the garbage. Um, that's probably one of the biggest things that we see that's helped out.
So you've been there for 12 years, which is impressive. I think I made it 10 years at one place. Um, what's one lesson you learned over those 12 years that, sticks with you every day when you come in?
Oh, um, You know, so I became a father 5 years ago, almost six now. And the one thing that I've done with my kids is right before we go to bed, when we're, doing our bedtime stories, it's, tell me something about your day and what did you learn today? And so I try and do that every single day with myself too, is, something that I learned, I take it back. I take it, I hone it, I use it tomorrow. And then the thing that I learned, I like to take tribal knowledge and share it because, who knows who's going to be in the business in 2, 3 years and if that's going to get passed down. So, on the mentoring side, definitely helping out employees, teach them something that they may not already know. And if they know it, great. It instills it in them that they know that other people are paying attention to it too.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. You don't repeat it, it's not important, right? All right,
Absolutely.
let's
Yep.
have a little
After you
fun.
hear it 3 times and you know.
Yeah, exactly. That's the rules of marketing. You got to tell them 3 times at least. All right, so we've got
Yep.
a little quick fire at the end, just some fun stuff. You are a Cleveland native, so you got to keep one. The Browns, the Guardians, or the Cavs?
Cavs.
All right.
I'm a
Fir-
Cavs diehard.
First job you ever had?
Heinen's grocery store.
Well, that's a good. What'd you do?
I bagged and then I was in charge of the pop water beer aisle. I was 16 and I was filling in beer.
It is amazing the difference in times. I had some pretty
Yes,
sketchy
very much
jobs
so.
too. I ended up working in a hamburger place in Dallas that was actually running drugs out of the drive-through. Uh, Best
Oh
safety tip you
man.
have ever been giving?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I would say don't do something if your mom was watching.
Oh, oh, okay.
Yeah,
And one word to describe the future of sustainability.
that's 2 words, but it was ever growing is the first thing that came to my mind. But
We'll throw a dash
sustainability,
in there.
yeah,
I
that's
mean,
yes,
if
please.
ChatGPT can put in a dash in everything, we can put in a dash in there. Ever growing, absolutely. It's one word.
Yes,
Well,
I
thank
like
you,
it.
Joe, for joining the winner circle. Joe's at Fastenal. Remember, he's a leader in the supply chain and safety and sustainability, or excuse me, 20,000 employees, 2,000 locations worldwide. Joe, it's really been a pleasure talking with you. I appreciate all the time.
Yeah, thank you so much, Russ.